Hi everybody, this is Teresa Tribolette, the content writer at Storage Unit Auction List. And this time of year is back to school. And you know what that means. It means books, it means clothes, it means more school supplies than seems possible. This time of year can be stressful for your children as they battle the back to school blues, and between their grumpy behavior and the dent all the supplies are making on your budget, you can get overwhelmed as well. Luckily, there's a great way for you to make some extra money this time of year, and that's to attend storage auctions on a regular basis as a reseller. So for you to make this money and to be successful at storage auctions, you'll have to go back to school as well. Welcome to Storage Auctions 101. Let's skip the part where we talk about what we all did this summer, because I know we all went to a lot of auctions, and jump right into the lesson plan. Finding the right auctions can make or break your business. Storage Unit Auction List provides over 10,000 auction listings a month. We also offer affordable subscription rates, and our auctions have 80% less attendees than auctions not listed with us. This makes it easier for you to win units as well as to bid and for you to make money. So we just mentioned all the school supplies. Your child has to have several different things to be successful at school: pens, paper, notebooks, the works, their book bag. Similarly, you have to have necessary supplies to be successful as a storage auction reseller. So we'll just go over a couple of the main things that you need to bring. Obviously, you can see flashlight on the slideshow. That is very important. The flashlight allows you to look inside the unit from the outside and try and find items that you wouldn't be able to see with the naked eye without the flashlight, because you can't go inside the unit, you can't touch anything. So the flashlight helps give you a little bit of an edge to try and see those smaller items that you wouldn't otherwise. Also, you'll need gloves, a knife or a box cutter, and some sort of a hand dolly, hand cart, because all those things help you move items within the unit easier and load them easier. And you know, the gloves, that's just protective gear. The knife, there's a lot of boxes that you'll have to get cut into, and the hand dolly is just great for larger pieces of furniture that you don't want to injure yourself moving bookcases and things of that nature. So the hand dolly helps in that way. You'll also need boxes for sorting. A lot of people don't think about this when they get started because they just assume, well, there's boxes inside the units. Everything is all boxed up. I can just move all those items onto my truck. And you can do that in some instances, but a lot of times if the unit has been sitting for a long time, those boxes have weathered over time. They have damage, they might have mold problems, they might have bugs inside, they might have gotten rain damage on them. There's just a lot of different things that can happen to these boxes, especially they're just a lot of times cardboard. They're not the sturdiest material in the world. So if it gets a little damaged, it then becomes very hard for you to move it easy without breaking the boxes and having to pick up individual things off of the ground that fall out of them. Also, even if you can move the boxes, bringing your own allows you to sort everything. So you can just start different piles in these different boxes, and then that makes, if you do that up front, then later when you go to sell, you don't have to do that, and that makes the process a little quicker. Finally, you'll also want to bring padlocks. Padlocks are very important to bring because once you've won a unit, you will have to place your own padlock on that unit. And the facility has a padlock on the unit before the auction, but once you've won a unit, they remove their padlock and you need to put your padlock on. If you don't have a padlock, one of two things is going to happen. Either you have to then just leave the unit sitting with the door closed but unlocked, which leaves your unit vulnerable for theft, or B, you have to buy padlocks from the facility, and often they're a little more expensive. So it's more cost efficient to bring a handful of your own before the auction, and that way you're prepped and ready to go. And then finally, cash is king at storage auctions, and so it's very important to bring your cash. You're going to want to bring enough cash to bid and also to cover the expenses of cleaning fees, auction attendance fees in some instances, and there's a couple of different fees that some facilities do place on their auctions. So call ahead to the facility manager, find out what that is in each individual instance, and then bring that money. And make sure that you have cash, because they don't accept checks usually, they don't accept debit cards, they don't accept any other form of payment. So cash really is king, and it's very important to bring the amount that you're comfortable bidding, and do not bid over that amount, because if you do and then you don't have the money, then that becomes a problem and you could lose your unit. Call ahead. So this is pretty self-explanatory, but calling ahead to the auction on the day of the auction to make sure it's actually taking place is well worth the time and energy it takes you to do so. Storage unit auction list, we provide you with a printable list that you can print out days before auction. So you have an entire list. You can stick it in your kitchen, in your office, wherever you stick your calendar items, and then you have a full listing of auctions. However, and we update anytime an auction is canceled. We try our best to get all those updates up to the site almost immediately. But sometimes somebody can pay up to the minute of an auction, and so often, if we have an auction if there's an auction on a Saturday, we'll post on a Friday that the auction has been verified and it's still taking place, and that's the information that we have from the facility. Somebody can then come in the morning on Saturday of the auction and pay for their unit, and it's canceled, and we wouldn't have that information then. So what you need to do is call ahead to make sure it's still taking place, so that you're not just wasting gas and wasting energy going to auctions that aren't even occurring. So the printable list is great, and it gives you a good snapshot for the entire month, and it's a great tool to have. But it's important to remember to call ahead as well, because if you print out a list 5 days ahead of time, it might not be accurate on that 5th day, because things just happen in the industry. People pay their units all the time. So make sure you call ahead. It's also a great idea to call ahead to get that information about the cleaning deposits, like I mentioned, and all the different deposits that might be in place at that facility. It's also a great idea because you can talk to the facility manager and maybe perhaps find out a little bit about the unit. Facility managers aren't always willing to give out that information. However, sometimes they will tell you a little bit about the previous tenant, or who or how long the unit has been sitting vacant, so on, etc. So it's just a great way to try and get a little bit of information, insider info, before the auction takes place. So the next piece of information is to know the rules. Follow instructions regarding the auctions, and don't go inside a unit, and don't touch anything until you've won an auction. Those are really the most important rules, and a lot of times if you're not following those rules and you're doing something to negatively counteract what the auctioneer has said, they will kick you out of the auction. A lot of times you won't be allowed to bid on auctions at that facility again. So you don't want to get in a sticky situation like that. So you just want to follow the rules and be professional and be polite to the auctioneer, and follow any other rules that they might lay out before the auction. And typically they lay out all of these rules before the auction to make sure everybody hears them and everybody is in the know. So if you start then not following those rules, then they can slap you on the wrist maybe. But then if it continues to be a problem, they will, a good auctioneer a lot of times will remove you, so you're not there ruining it for everybody else. Okay, and the next piece here is show up and bid. So show up early at each auction. This allows you to network. We talked about networking in last week's webinar, and all of our webinars are available on our YouTube channel, on the Storage Unit Auction List YouTube channel, so go check that out. It's lots of great information and insider info. Showing up early also allows you to scope out the competition and, again, talk to the auctioneer and the management and find out what you can about the units to help you decide how to bid once the auction starts. Also, you're going to want to bid on what you see. Look at what you can see and decide how much you think you can resell it for. Your maximum bid should then be half that amount. So if you think you can sell an item for $100, your maximum bid should be $50. And this should ensure that you're always at least breaking even, if not going into the green, and then saving that money for the next auction. So start bidding. Choose a technique that works for you. If you plan to be subtle, let the auctioneer know beforehand so that they know what your bidding technique is. And as you can see in the slide, somebody's holding up 4 fingers. So maybe they're bidding $4, maybe they're bidding $400. Obviously, that's going, the auctioneer will know based on the ongoing bid what your bid is. But however, you're just going to want to make sure that they know what your signal is, because it might always not be as obvious as fingers or somebody throwing up a hand or yelling. So you just want to make sure you let them know what you're planning to do. Also, you're going to want to make sure you research a unit once you've won, and research all the items inside a unit, and because that can make the difference in if you make money or not. If you sell an item without doing the research, it could be that you're making money on it. It could be that you're breaking even, or it could be that you actually lost money on it because you didn't do the research and it was more valuable than you thought on just by looking at it. And you don't ever want to lose money in this business. So just make sure, if necessary, get your items appraised by a trusted appraiser, and then go from there, and then you'll have money for the next auction. And then finally, don't spend it all in one place. So I remember as a kid, I used to, get the money from the grandparents. Don't spend it all in one place. Go save it. Go save it. So similarly, that's, we just want to remind people to set aside a percentage of money that you win at each auction to use towards your next auction, so that you have a process in place for saving that money, and that you always have a little bit to go for the next auction, because anybody can be successful once or twice, but really to grow your business, you're going to want to have a savings set aside specifically for auctions, because depending on the auction, units can go for $50, they can go for $5, they can go, I've seen units go for $500 and $600. So you're just going to want to make sure that you set aside a proper amount of money, so that carries you into the next auction, and then that carries you into the next auction, and so on. The coupon code this week is SA101, and use this coupon code to receive 20% off of your first subscription or any additional subscriptions. So that wraps up the lesson. Thanks everybody for attending Storage Auctions 101. We do just want to remind everybody about some great offers that we have. If you want really great insider information, the Storage Treasures Pro Training Program is a great way to get that information. You've seen them all on TV. Nabila Hannes from Storage Wars, Dan and Laura Dotson from Storage Wars, Troy Howerton from the Redneck Picker. These are industry heavyweights and professionals, and they provide you with a great education on how to quickly make money in this business. And you can claim your free $50 scholarship offer by going to https://sj111.infusionsoft.com/go/sal/A449. That allows you to preview some of the material and get a feel for the program, and then to sign up for the full Pro Series training program, enter the coupon code AUCTIONLIST on the checkout screen to receive that $50 discount on the program. This is another great tool to use. As a Terapeak user, you'll have access to a unique marketplace intelligence that helps you determine best-selling items on eBay and Amazon, and how to increase your online business opportunities and more. And Kabbage provides working capital in both the United States and the UK, whereas traditional banking institutions may take several weeks to decide on an advance and a loan. Kabbage can deliver funding to small business owners within just a few minutes. So that's a really valuable thing to have. You're just getting started. So do take advantage of all these great opportunities. If you have questions, you can call us at 800-353-8417 or email us at info@storageunitauctionlist.com, or visit us on the blog on storageunitauctionlist.com/blog, or follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Google+, and we also have Pinterest and Tumblr accounts, so you can find us just about anywhere to get your questions answered. So hope everybody has a great and successful week, and we look forward to talking with you next week.